Hi, welcome to another video on my Raspberry Pi. Running Raspbian Linux and using pulses modulation to run some electronics. Last time I managed to get a live video stream from my Raspberry Pi cam running. And as you can see, if you have watched my latest videos about this, the screen is different. That is because I managed to get a full HD VNC server configuration. Well, it turned out to be very easy, but if you know things, it's always very easy. Anyway, last time I did some checking with the electronics here, and with these wires I tried to run a motor, which didn't work. You can see, by the way, that I have a few seconds delay, same as the last time. And by using two different motors, well, not at the same time, but more or less, well, after each other. One didn't work, then I tried another one, didn't work either. And the question is why? Well, I found out that I need a different motor, probably. So what I have done is using this motor instead. This is an XS, I guess for extra small, and you may recognize this from my other projects. So what I am going to do is connect this to these wires and see if that runs on the hardware pulses modulation. So first thing to do is connect them. And then also make sure that the wires are in the correct position. On the, for instance, the Arduino, they have to be connected to here, the transistor, and to the plus. However, right now, because I have an op-amp here, it's slightly different, and I may try to put in the pulses modulation that comes from here. This wire, and it goes straight to the transistor. So when I connect this wire to here, who knows what happens. So let me first check, change this wire. And I don't even need to change this wire. I just plug it in. So now it's purely wired to this transistor, and let's run the program. So now I should do something. Let's see, can I configure it? Yes, I can. because I would like to have this one running at the same time as I play it. So let me resize this. See, that is a bit better. Yes, same resolution, a little bit better now. I need to make sure that the propeller doesn't hit anything, and then run it. Let's get back to this command. See whatever works. Alright, that's the most I can do now. Well, the program runs, but unfortunately the motor doesn't give in. The motor doesn't do a thing. And that is, to say the least, rather oh wait. Then it is very nice to have the ground connected, if that is the ground, because without the ground you won't do a thing. So let me check if that is indeed the case, if everything wired okay. My attempt to reconnect the mass was successful, at least in theory. So let's try again, and then I hope that the motor will run. So unfortunately the motor doesn't do anything, which might indicate that the voltage even for this is just too low. So since the pulse width modulation is transferred here, let me just try again. And then again, it may be that the voltage is just way too low right now, since this LED is not doing anything. And now I have to shift the whole board. Right, this LED is not doing anything, so the power is down. Let me get a tool. And solve that problem. Right. Let's try again. This is not working. And this isn't working either. So despite the program running, the motor isn't doing anything. And that's not what I like. I should be able to just lift it and then it runs. But you can see it doesn't do it. So let's connect this to the plus. It still runs. and I gave it a little persuasion, and then it does run. But what I'm waiting for is that it adjusts to the pulse width. So you can clearly see it works, and indeed connected to the plus and to the pulse width. Does the frequency change? I don't really see it. So what I can do is put the pulse width in with 0 and then have it speed up. Let me try to stabilize this. Alright, now it runs without me holding it, and I stop the program. What will happen? Does it stop? No, it probably won't stop because it has it gets a voltage from 5 volts from the mains, and it is connected to a very low voltage from here. And now it is a pity that I get a delay of some seconds, so I have to keep that in mind. Anyway, the motor just keeps running. So I may do two things: change this program and getting back from 500 to 250 and then slower or lower value, and measuring the circuit once again. So let me first add some more values. Copy, paste, then say 14, and this is making 125, and go on. So let's add some more lines to the code. (15, 16 and 17). Then going down, and half of this would be well, should I divide it again, or should I put it to 0? I think I'll put it to 0 straight away. And this should be 18. Four times, so this is 19, 20 and 21. Question is, will this work? Because in the past something like this didn't work. One way to find out: do it. Yeah, right. And I go straight over the 1999, which I should have imagined. So let me do this and remove these two lines. Although I should be able to use this 1900 and instead of 2000 using 1999. One makes a difference. So let's do it again. Then look at the motor, which doesn't show a change. And by adjusting the potmeter, now that's interesting because it is now turned down completely. So should I remove this one? Yes. If I remove this one, what will happen? Nothing at all, probably. No. Okay, so this one makes the LED. So I have now disconnected this wire which connected the transistor circuit to the op-amp circuit, and without that connection the motor doesn't do anything, nothing at all. It just makes sure that the LED goes let's say nothing, nowhere, and that's all it does. So I put this in, give it a slight recommendation and go, okay. And now without that line it doesn't do anything. So once again, what is the trick? What would be the trick? What should be the trick? Looking to, okay, I can stop this because it doesn't matter. Looking at other projects, the thing would be that it is 5 volts plus pulses modulation. Well, I put in 5 volts, but the pulses modulation doesn't change anything. Like now, I should actually measure anything, both in voltage and frequency. So that is the next step. What is what? I have changed the setup a little bit, so you can see that I have the yellow digital multimeter and red analog multimeter. The analog one I will use for the voltage and the digital one for the frequency. So the first question is what voltage is now over the motor. So I will just probe it and see the needle move to some, that not nice, to some 6 volts. Actually 6.5, 7 volts, which is quite enough. However, if I remove this one, so I remove the line between the transistor circuit and the op amp, what voltage is there? Actually higher. It's 12 volts, and that is not good at all. So I will remove this one. Why does it show so much voltage on it? I will put it back again. It doesn't do anything. How much voltage is on it? Absolutely nothing. Well, a very maybe half volt. So that raises the question, how much volt is there on the transistor circuit? And I'm measuring here right at the transistor, and it says half volt. Raising the question, how much is actually coming from the pulse width GPIO, which is almost 3 volts, 2.5 volts, let's say that. And at the transistor, it's hardly anything. Is this a measuring mistake? No, it is still 2.5 volts saying. So how much is then on the amplifier, which is 5 volts? So with this voltage is measured, time to measure frequency. I'm very curious what that will bring. So the yellow with the yellow multimeters on frequency, I will have to start the program. And it is going to 10 hertz. I can't say anything different. No, yeah, 10 hertz, 20 hertz. So the question is it too fast? Let me change the code a little bit. So I could say, alright, I want a pause. Time.sleep. Let's do that. And another time sleep right here. Another one right here. A little bit assuming that this is all correct. And let's see how this will work out. So with this little change in code, let's try again, running it, and then I have to measure the frequency. It's a descending frequency. Well, that's what I assume anyway. But the point is, this frequency is not enough to run the motor. That's an astonishing conclusion. The problem is that the highest frequency I measure is 30 Hertz, and from my other experiments I found that below 30 Hertz it won't work, and it's 1 or 10 kilohertz, no 10 Hertz, 20 Hertz, and sometimes it is 30 kilohertz. However, when I measure the voltage right here, for example, it's nothing. It's hardly anything, and here it is barely 5 volts. So that is the big question. My code at the moment, assuming it works, is not providing the a high enough frequency. So what if I change this to 1500? So let's just do that. And I'm rapidly going towards half an hour now. But let's do this. Assuming that this is indeed the culprit. I don't know if it is, but it would explain a lot. Mind the indentation. One more line. Time.sleep. And let's see whatever happens. What is the frequency? There's no error, but the frequency doesn't exceed the 30 Hertz. And measuring the voltage, well, that hasn't changed. So measuring the voltage here is 2.5 volts. Measuring the voltage here is hardly anything. Half volt. So I clearly have to rethink the whole situation. The motor is okay, because it works in other experiments as well. But the combination of this code, the motor, frequency and voltage, I don't like that. That's no good. So for now, thank you for watching. If you like this video, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. Also, please consider a small donation to keep my blog going. See my website for more information. And this is certainly going to be continued. So, bye bye. On the other hand, also see my Twitter and Instagram for nice pictures. Instagram for nice pictures, Twitter for posts on my videos.